Welcome back to Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, cooking through it anyways. Today we are still in Egypt, our second recipe, Hamam Mahshi. The whitest way of saying this is that it's rice stuffed pigeon. As you can imagine, I had to make a few substitutions. First of all, pigeon. You're not going to find that around here, especially Idaho. So we had to go with Cornish game hen. So that is our biggest substitution right here. So hopefully, I mean, I don't think it's going to taste exactly the same, but we're going to go ahead and try anyways. There's no guarantee. So the recipe does call for the offal of the pigeon, which is, from my understanding and my research, it's just the insides of it, what we would call maybe giblets of like a turkey. There is no guarantee that these have them. It's touch and go. It's depends on each individual package. So we're going to open these and hopefully there is some offal in here that we can use. If not, unfortunately our recipe is just going to be missing that. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the first part, which is frying. So first step is to fry our onions with butter and mastic. Mastic is another ingredient I have never heard of. So I got this imported Greek mastic gum. As far as I can tell, mastic is just mastic gum. Gum is just the extra part on this. And from what I understand, it's a flavor enhancer. So we're going to go ahead, throw this butter down, let that melt. And while that melts, we're going to go ahead and cut up half an onion to fry with that. And we're going to do half of this onion, and we're going to fry until translucent. And it doesn't say exactly how to cut it, so I am going to default to diced. I feel like that's going to be our best bet of how to get it to fit inside of our Cornish game hen. Onions all chopped up. Let's go ahead. That butter is looking there, so we're going to drop in this piece of mastic. I don't even know if the camera's really going to pick it up, but it's just this tiny little thing, and like I said, I guess it's just a flavor enhancer. So we're going to drop it in there along with our onion. And we're just going to fry this for a little bit. So I have never had Cornish game hen before in my life. I have no idea what it tastes like. I mean, I'm assuming it just looks like any other bird, but I've never even seen a Cornish game hen before, other than maybe like in TV or something. But so this is going to be all sorts of new experiences for me. Yeah, okay. I mean, exactly what I expected. It looks like a little tiny chicken. So we're going to open up all three of these, see if we got any offal in there to work with today. So we got our Cornish game hens opened up, and usually, at least here in the US, they will stick that stuff down inside. So we've got at least a neck here. Looks like maybe no neck on this guy. Pull that feather off. I'm feeling a neck down inside, so I'll pull that out too. Okay, nothing inside there. And nope, nothing inside this one either. So we've got very little to work with here, but we're gonna just pull that neck out. And after double checking on this one, I'm actually just feeling, I think its backbone, not any kind of neck to pull out. So we've got one neck for 3 Cornish game hens. yeah, that's just its spine. Our onions are just about translucent, whereas that's where we want them. At that point, we're gonna add in the one neck we got, as well as some spices, and that is the start of our stuffing. So the offal, what we got is just a neck, and then we're gonna throw in our black pepper to taste, and we're gonna go a little, I think, heavy. One cardamom pod, which I've never used one of these before. It smells, I really hate to say this because I don't want to be insensitive or anything, but it kind of smells like Vicks Vapor Rub. But it just says to throw the cardamom pod in there. I'm going to guess it's just a flavor enhancer. And a sprinkle of nutmeg, which this one actually kind of surprised me. So it says to cook it until the meat's brown. I wish we had more to go off of. Trust me, people, I tried. I really tried to find all the ingredients for this. I even had to go to the dreaded Amazon to buy some of this stuff. So that was my last ditch effort. I went to every mart I could find in our region, and this is where we're at. You have to cook with what you can find in your local area. Our next step is to add in our washed rice. And I would add in mint if I could find it. So speaking of ingredients, I am just not the time of year. I've had no luck. So we're going to add in a blend of some different herbs. I know it's going to change the flavor profile of this, but I'm doing what I can. Whoops. We're going to let this cook for just a minute. We're just toasting this, and then we're going to stuff it into the birds. Our next step here, we've got the toasted rice switched over. So we got to stuff these birds, in particular underneath the skin. My concern here is that we're then going to boil it. And you have to seal the bird, otherwise it will leak. I don't know what I'm doing here, right? So we are just going to, we're going to go for it. Alright, just okay, we took a break. Our camera person, my fiance, in fact had something for us to tie up these legs to help try and seal it up. So now we're just going to fill these birds up with our rice. Oh, they actually take less rice than I anticipated. And we're going to try and see if we can't find an opening to shove some rice in. There we go. There's a good opening. Okay, I got that one taken care of, maybe, and we will, let's see. I feel like I'm just going to lose a bunch of rice no matter what I do here, so we're just going to go for it. Well, off camera I got some help tying this up. I'm going to assume that pigeon is just built different, and it's easier to, oh, that bird seems like it'll be easier to actually, this first bird is going to lose so much rice. There's no way it's going to retain the rice. It's just going to be a mess. So we're going to put these birds in here to boil, and I'm assuming we're going to lose a lot of the rice, but we'll see. It says boil them until they are flexible, which they're pretty already flexible, so we're just going to boil them for until I feel safe. We're still got to fry them, so there's that too. And then in that water that's boiling, our pigeon slash Cornish game hen, we drop in a full onion and some extra spices. And for our boil, I'm going to keep them kind of big. We're not going to end up using these again, it's just for flavoring. So we're going to drop these in real quick. And the idea is you would actually keep the stock to be used for something else. We'll do that because we don't waste in this kitchen, but I don't know what we're going to make with it. Probably a soup or something. And here we also throw in a bay leaf, cloves worth of garlic. I know I'm a terrible terrible person for using pre-minced garlic, but it's what's in the fridge. And some more black pepper. And our last spice is 3 of these cardamom pods. We're going to let everything boil for a little bit. Alright, so we're taking these birds out to put them in the oil, letting them dry for a second. We'll see how this goes. There we go. Alright, so lesson learned. Holding it over to dry, not enough, so we're going to transfer these over here so I can pat them dry a little bit. And we're going to fry them one at a time. I'm sure plenty of people laughed at me. I laughed at myself. I kind of thought they would be fine. Or fine enough, but here we are. So there's no getting rid of all the water in these guys. So we're just going to do our best here and patting them dry. Alright, so we're going to have to end up just jumping. The next clip is going to be after these birds are fried up, setting off the fire alarms, the boiling is being too loud, scared the dog, so we're just going to try and manage things, and we're going to jump to the end and show these birds when they're done. So after some mishaps in the kitchen, we got this done. We got ourselves our 3 birds here. So we did these 2 in oil, and we did this one in the air fryer. The air fryer is a lot cleaner, obviously, but I just wanted to see what the difference would be between these 2. Clearly, the time period in which these recipes come from, air fryers did not exist, so we couldn't do it then. But we're going to go ahead, I'm going to cut some of this breast right here and just try this alone. I can't imagine it's going to have much flavoring. Well, it's juicy. It's tastes like chicken. Honestly, kind of tastes like your supermarket rotisserie chicken. But let's try it with some rice. I'm gonna cut the tie. Turn that up a little bit. We're going to cut ourselves another piece of the breast. And get ourselves some rice.
That's where all the flavor was. That is a lot better. If anything, I should have let it boil a little bit longer. I thought it was going to be long enough for that rice to cook, but because it's inside that bird, I needed to have boiled it for a lot longer for that rice to actually be done. So I probably should have boiled it for about 20 minutes instead of the 12 to 15 that I did. There's a lot of really good flavor in that rice. I have to wonder how much better that flavor profile would have been with the mint instead of using the mix of herbs and spices I did use. I can't even really give this a fair judgment because, first of all, it's not pigeon. I was missing the mint. I used pre-chopped garlic instead of fresh garlic, which there's a huge difference. So there's a lot of things I had to alter here. So I can't really comment on what how good that original recipe is, but I can comment on this westernized version. That's pretty good. I would have rather did this with a small chicken instead of spending the $22 per bird that I did. Honestly, a small chicken would have tasted just as good as this Cornish game hen at a fraction of the price. So that is I think that's one of the parts that really just puts this down, is it doesn't taste any better or different than what a chicken would. It's a pretty good recipe, but I definitely liked full Medimus more than this Hamam Mahshi. So that's my take on Hamam Mahshi. If I ever see this in a restaurant, though, 100% I will get it there and I will try it, because I guarantee it's going to be a hell of a lot better than what this was. Unfortunately, I had to make do with what I could with the ingredients I could find in my local area. It's just where we're at. But thanks for joining for our second recipe of Egypt in the Indiana Jones and the Great Circle series. I'll catch you next time with our third and final recipe in Egypt.